You know, I'm half tempted to paint that thing pink. Put a pig face on one end and a curly Q pigtail on the other. Nah, I better not do that. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm finally back to this long overdue pig episode. So you can see I'm setting up for an air test here. This is a Schrader valve with a, I think that's half-inch NPT National Pipe Thread. Anyway, where this plug normally goes, it's the same thread. So I'm going to screw this Schrader valve into there. Well, if you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to put some air in this tank, and two things are going to happen. Number one, I'm going to look for leaks with some soapy water, and I'm going to check and see if that old Victor gauge is any good. I may have to swap that out. And if it isn't any good, boy, I'm having a hard time staying in frame here. Sorry about that. If it isn't any good, then I'm going to have to come up with something else to replace it. And I think I actually have something. So anyway, I'm going to finish tightening this down, and I'll bring you back. Well, here goes nothing. Well, that gauge is coming up, and it's holding. So, sorry, shaking you all over the place here. Let's put some more in there. Looks like about 20 pounds on the gauge. Schrader valve isn't leaking. Nothing around any of the plugs. See if I can gently move you around here. Hey, I'm going to clean my floor at the same time. I don't know. Nah, you can't see that gauge. Hang on. Well, it's holding steady. I'm going to squirt a little juice around here and just look for some bubbles, but we seem to be doing okay. All right, well, what do we got here? Not seeing any. Oop, I got a little leak right there on that nipple. Okay. All right, so I'll have to fix that. This one over here, I'm not seeing any bubbles at all. And around, it doesn't matter, around the Schrader valve, because that's coming back out. What I'm going to do, this is the fill, that's the discharge. This is an old propane tank. So I'm going to put a pop-off valve here. And since I'm probably not going to run this, the tank is rated for 250 pounds, but I'm not going to run it over probably 150, 125 to 150. So I will get I probably have one around here somewhere, a pop-off valve set for 150. Actually, do I have that on order? I can't remember. The last video, I think. Yeah, I told you guys I was waiting for parts. I was waiting for a check valve and the pop-off valve. Never mind what I say. So I got a little leak here I'll fix, and I see the gauge is dropping off accordingly. So yeah, and that's a cool old Victor brass gauge, so I'll have to shine that up a little bit. All right, the pig. So what I'm doing, pulling all the fittings out of this tank. Because I got to purge it. It's an old propane tank and I got to do some welding on it. And I don't want to blow myself up. I am not going to film the purging process because I don't want anybody to get the idea that they can watch me and then go screw around with an old propane tank and then blow themselves up. I don't want that hanging over my head. And so if you, first advice is don't do what I do. Don't mess with old propane tanks. And if you do, get them professionally purged. Welding shop, propane company, LP gas company, they're the ones that know how to purge these things professionally. Don't do what I do. So I'm not going to film any of that because I don't want anybody getting the idea, watching me and then go screw with a propane tank and kaboom. Couldn't live with myself. And I can't afford the liability, so no, don't do it. This is the nipple that was leaking when I did the air test on the tank. I can see why. It's not even tight. So anyway, yeah. When I bring you back, I'll have progressed a little farther with this, and then we'll be working on prepping and paint. I got a couple brackets to cut off, this to cut off, and you know, just a bunch of grinding, which is no fun to watch. So yeah, I'll bring you back when we're ready for the next step. Well, I think that's going to work. I'll just have to stretch that spring out a little more, and we'll have the tail end of the pig. I think that is going to work. A little more cleanup to do with the file, but the pig has a snout. Okay, I got a gnarly piece of scrap here. I want to make pig's ears, and they're going to be two different shapes, so I'm going to start with the cylindrical shaped one first. I want it the same diameter as the snout, which is 3 inches. So I want to be able to curl this thing up into an ear. So 3 inches times pi, 3.1416. If I go to my circumference rule, it's telling me it's going to be 9 and... You see that? No, you can't see that. Anyway, if I go to 3, and I look down here on the bottom scale, it'll tell me 9 and 7/16, thereabouts. I mean, close enough for a pig's ear, right? So I'm going to go 9 and 3/8. Oh, wonderful. Try that again. Nine 3/8. Don't know if you can see that or not. Actually, I'm going to do it with the scribe. It shows up a little better on shiny metal. And then I want the thing to be a total length of 4 inches long. First, I want to bisect this. Let's see. That's going to be 4 and 11/16. Half a 9 and 3/8. Double check. Yep. Now I want the whole thing about 4 inches long. So for my crappy camera work, which I do apologize for, I'm looking at some camera gear. Just to see what's out there in my price range, and so I can improve the quality of these videos. Alright, I want the base of the ear to be a couple inches long, and then the top of the ear will be a couple inches long. So metal is so crappy because it's scrap. Just put a couple of tick marks here so I can see where I'm at. There's my 4-inch height there. Off camera, I divided this 9 and 3/8 stretch out, which will form up to 3-inch diameter. I divided that up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal spaces. And that 9 3/8, that came up to 1 and 9/16 for each one. And then I'll use what the sheet metal vernacular is called parallel line development. I'll run those lines up. It'll become more obvious here what I'm doing in a minute. So I've got that bisected in the middle. I've got this divided up. I'm just going to transfer these lines up, straight up. It's going to look like a jigsaw puzzle before long, or maybe a crossword puzzle would be more appropriate. Let's see. This is my center line here, so I'm just going to mark that up here so I won't forget it. And I'm going to put a couple of tick marks on it too. Okay, from the halfway point, which is 2 inches, I want to curve this up to the center line, have a little radius there at the top. So what I'm thinking is maybe 1/2 inch increments. So I'll scribe a line here from the 2 inch mark, 1/2 inch, and then to my next line I'm going to go 1 inch. I'm going to put a tick mark on those 2 marks. And then what you do is you take your circumference rule. You start on your first mark, and then you bend it as you set it on the next marks. So you're going from here to here with a curve. You form that up, and then you scribe that arc along there, and then duplicate that on the other side. That's your cut line. So there's my 2 inch mark there. There's that 1/2 inch, there's that 1 inch, and then there's the top at 4 inches on the center line. And it doesn't have to be perfect unless you're laying out ventilation for a nuclear submarine. And then you saw me curve the circumference rule, and then I just scribe this line on both sides, as you can see, a gentle arc. And then I'll probably put just a slight arc there. I'll probably use a washer or something just to give it a rounded tip up there. I'm going to get the snips and cut that out, and then we'll form it up. Those reference lines that I scribed up also help me keep this aligned in the pipe anvil to keep the radius that I'm forming here somewhat symmetrical. Since this isn't a slip roll, meaning I can slip my piece out the end, I'm going to form it up, then I'm going to have to kind of unform it to get it out, and then I'll finish it off over a pipe in the vise. But you get the idea. You get the idea what I'm doing here. Well, I'm going to touch this up with a T-dollar. I still have my reference lines on the outside here so I can keep it straight with a T-dolly. Keep this going round. Yeah, that's going to work. We've got one pig's ear. Yeah, I'll fool around with the orientation a little bit. Pig snout there, pig ear there. I'm going to have to come up with some eyes and a mouth also. I'll tack weld this seam to finish off the ear. Yeah, but I'm going to end this one right here because I got a big, ugly thunderstorm bearing down on me. And I got to batten down the hatches in the backyard, put a couple things away before that hits. So we've been having these every day for the last week. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll continue the pig in the next video. And yeah, so take care, everybody. We'll see you very soon. Bye for now.